All right, how's it going, guys? So in this video, I would like to talk to you about the highest lever in business, right? And really, I've been focused for the past 2.5 hours on really getting laser focused and just optimizing overall our ICP market segments, scalability, TAM, all that kind of stuff. And so I'll just give you a quick brief summary of like what it is that you know, essentially what we're doing, and I'll tie that into the highest lever in the business because it's both at the same time, right? We're obviously focused at Acquirely on solving your highest lever in the business because it will create you the most money, right? So ultimately, what we do, and Acquirely is only focus, right? We believe very heavily in focus, and so what we're very heavily focused on is, our focus is to build in-house acquisition systems that turn every dollar our clients spend into $10 in revenue, both consistently and predictably. And so basically what that means in a nutshell is we have a goal to create for every single one of our clients an LTV to CAC ratio of 10 to 1. That's it. And so, yeah, we started off just like booking appointments onto people's calendars and, mastering cold email and all that. But like ultimately, it doesn't matter what happens to the marketplace or anything. This is our core focus, and so, yeah. Now, the reason why this is the core focus, and this is really the premise of this video, is the highest lever in business, and I'll explain why it is in a second, but the highest lever is increasing your annual EBITDA amount in like physical dollar form, right? So like increasing the actual amount of EBITDA that your company is producing on an annual basis. If you can do that, that is your highest lever. And the reason why, so like that is the single best use of your time. And the reason why is because EBITDA has a form of leverage on itself, and that is the multiple that you have on your EBITDA. So for example, this is for agencies. Typically the multiple on your EBITDA will be around 5, right? Now, if you're highly optimized, it can be 6 or 7, but you're typically going to get about 5x on whatever your annual EBITDA amount is, right? So again, that is a form of leverage. The fact that it is getting a multiple on that number is the first form of leverage. Then, if you use a leveraged system to get there, it is a double form of leverage. So it is leverage compounded by leverage, right? And that's exponential. And so if you just have the one core focus on increasing that physical amount every single quarter, right, for the overall annual number, you win. Like that is the fastest and easiest approach in terms of like limiting your thinking, right, and options and choices. It's your fastest straight line to like getting generational wealth. Like that's it, right? So yeah, and like this is why we've sort of, made this Acquirely's core focus, because like there is so much distraction out there with, AI and AI automation and, all of these shiny things. And ultimately, I want the focus to be on something that is evergreen and something that no matter what happens in the world of business, in the nuanced things, that no matter what happens, like this is the core focus for that any business should have, right? And we're essentially at Acquirely just aligning to that, right? So we can have direct aligned incentives with our clients. And so, yeah, like ultimately my dream has always been like for Acquirely, and the goal is and always will be whatever amount of time a client is with us, whatever amount of money they spend on putting money into the marketing system, it spits out 10 times more minimum, right? And we've achieved like 25x on certain systems, right? Whereas like our client will spend $1, they'll get $25 out, right? Especially with cold email, it's very lucrative with the way that we set it up. And so, yeah, we will always just do whatever we can to achieve that. And so ultimately, like, if you can spend $300,000 over a 12-month period, the goal is to produce you $3 million in revenue. And then ultimately on the back end, increasing your EBITDA to, I mean, if your EBITDA is even any amount, like let's say a third of that, that would be $1 million EBITDA added to your business, right? Which is minimum 5x multiple, as long as your books are in order and it's a bankable business. In other words, again, your books are in order. Make sure that that's the case. But if that's the case, then you've added $5 million in enterprise value. You've added $5 million in actual sellable equity. And depending on how much equity you actually own in that business, you get in proportion that exact value, right? Number one. Number two, you still have the cash flow, right? That EBITDA is actual profit, right? Before taxes. So if you're reinvesting back into the company, that's pretty much profit, which is very powerful. So again, like I'm just giving a summary of why we have decided to have this as the core focus at Acquiring. Like we're not doing anything else. We're not doing anything else. This is the core focus. And again, it's because this should be the core focus of any company, right? And if it's not the core focus of your company, then that's okay. Just understand that you're not going to be as efficient as you could be, right? Because that is the most efficient straight line to maximum capital, right? So, yeah. Hopefully that makes sense. Just wanted to record this video for you guys to really let that core focus sink in, and think for yourself today. Like, where has your thoughts been, right? Where has your focus been on like the priorities of the company you're running? And if it hasn't been on this, then like you have a lot of room for improvement for productivity in terms of like, because like the most successful companies are the ones that, quite frankly, number one, have very happy customers, and then number two, as long as the customers are happy and you're solving a real problem, then I would say after that, what defines you as a successful company is how profitable you are, right? How much money you are producing. That is the premise it's the three pillars of a successful company. And so if, for many companies, they are profitable, and the customers are not necessarily happy. One great example of that is like I'm not the biggest fan of Amazon right now. I don't know if it's the new CEO after Bezos stepped down, but I'm not happy with Amazon. I'm not a happy customer. And the reason why is because they essentially, like, for no reason at all, like I lost the phone number for my Audible account. I called them, contacted them, everything. They just said, sorry, sir, we can't get your account back. I spent maybe like $300 on that account. And now if I want to get those books that I've been collecting over like 3 years, I have to purchase them all over again. And that to me is greed, right? Just due to pure laziness. That they're like not willing to try to verify, they can't verify with my passport or something. So like that's not good, right? That's bad customer service. And so they should be improving that. And they're very, very profitable, but that's unacceptable, right? So like that, on that aspect, their customer service is not where it needs to be. So as long as you're making sure that your customer service is where it needs to be, and you're actually solving a core problem for your customers, and quite frankly, if your customers are not happy, then you're probably not solving a problem. And conversely, so if they are happy, you're probably solving a problem already. So you don't even need step 2. It's literally, do you have happy customers? And if you do, then your goal should be to make as much profit as possible while maintaining happy customers. Do not ever increase profitability at the cost of happy customers. That's bad. I disagree with that. But again, if you have happy customers, step 1, then your only goal to be more successful as a company is to make as much profit as possible and increase your revenue and ultimately your EBITDA as much as possible. And quite frankly, to make yourself generational wealth. Go make a valuation of 10, 20, 30, 100 million, right? $1 billion, whatever. Go do that as long as you're maintaining happy customers. So I see it as like an obligation. I see it as this is your purpose as running a business, right? Because you can do a lot with EBITDA. You can do a lot with profit. There's not much you can do if you're not making that, right? So that should be your obligative responsibility and focus. Again, is to increase your EBITDA. It's not only that we have aligned incentives. It's like it's your responsibility, man. You know, try your best to increase your profits as much as possible and your EBITDA to make as big of a valuation as possible. Increase deal flow. Onboard more customers. Why? Because it's better for them if they're having a great experience. As long as you solve pillar 1, focus very, very hard on pillar 2. Your team's going to be happier if you're highly profitable. If you have the maximum EBITDA possible, your team's going to be very happy. Your customers are going to be very happy. If you have more profits, you can allocate more budget towards gifts and different incentives for your customers, which in turn will make them more happy, right? So like, again, like everything boils down to increasing your annual EBITDA. It's very powerful. So make sure you're increasing your annual EBITDA for the 10th time as much as possible, as long as your customers are very happy. Period. That's the formula. Hopefully that's simple enough. And like, I can't stress enough how many businesses just don't have this thinking process. They don't focus on this. And it's scattered everywhere, right? They're distracted. And so, yeah. So if you are a business, just by the way, who we're looking for specifically, if you are a business that spends at least $5,000 a month on marketing, and you have a sales team and you're already closing at least 15% of sales calls, not from organic marketing or referrals, you need to have the mindset of like closing actual deals, right? On deal flow. Then feel free to book a call, because this is what we do, right? And what we're going to be focused on is achieving this, quite simply, and filling your calendar with, hundreds and hundreds of sales calls and making sure that you make hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, and ideally, millions of dollars per year, that we're putting on your calendar. So if you need that in a predictable way, make sure to book a call below. And yeah, I'll see you guys there.